Erik Passoja. Yeah.
Mark, I love your voice. I want to take you to every sporting event I go to. Actually, how about this? Could you just come over and announce while I cook?
Wow, from you, dude. That's a lot. I would think we go.
Potatoes are going in the tray.
Will Erik get the potatoes out in time? Find out tonight. Erik, you are truly gifted, my friend. I really watched. I watched a demo reel of yours, and I saw the range as an actor. I can see why you work so much. This is a real moment for labor, I think. And it's an inflection moment for the studios as they rethink their business model. And they have to integrate those people who are creators, who contribute. I want to get to the AI in a moment, but first sort of set the stage, if you would, and tell me how this all affects you. I mean, this is why I think you are a special guest, because we have a guy who legitimately is not giving us a jetliner view of things. You are actually in it.
Yeah, well, for people who are not in the business, it's hard to understand sort of the delineation between star and person who works regularly, and then 97% of our membership at the union. Just know that over the past 2 years, I've done 3 recurring guest stars on TV show, recurring voiceover, 3 TV shows, recurring voiceover, 2 major video games, Diablo 4, which just came out, and the new one by Bethesda Software. I'm under NDA, go figure. And then foreign language dubbing. I do looping and dubbing. I do that. And I made a living to support my family. And just so you know, when I show up having 4 acting classes a week, constantly working on it, 10 to 12 auditions a week, voiceover, theatrical auditions. This is all I do, and it's what I love, and I care about it. I'm a member of the Actors Studio. So know that every time I get a job, I beat 1,500 people out for it, who are, it's like the Olympics. It's like trying to get on.
Everybody's super talented also, right?
Right. Yeah. And obviously there's a range in talent, but really, how bad do you want it? So the question is, if we get a session fee, let's say you were paying me SAG scale. I don't know what the scale is, but let's say it's $1,000. Okay. And you looked at 1,499 other people for this interview, and you picked me, and you pay me scale, and you're going to show this to millions of people. Watch your show. I know, Mark, millions of people. So people you're getting income from there. And during the interview, I dropped my phone and I realized that I have to get a new phone. And the session that you're going to continue making money off of has just been wasted for me, because I can't even afford to get a new phone, having beaten 1,499 people. So that's what scale has been for years. Now, I have a personal story that seems to have resonated with a lot of the membership and a lot of people outside. In 2014, and this directly relates to the SAG-AFTRA question, I worked on Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, Activision. And I played a Belgian geneticist in a lot of scenes, several scenes. And I did mocap work, worked with Kevin Spacey, and I'm talking to him like this because I'm a Belgian geneticist.
And what is mocap work, if you can tell us?
Yeah, dots all over my face, like they did on Avatar. People might have seen the on-set pictures. So, and by the way, we shot on the set of Avatar. It's the same set. It had, I think, 54 cameras surrounding us. We had, and by the way, that's old technology now. So you know how fast that works.
Wow.
And I was compensated for the face scanning process to create a character and the acting work. But what happened next, and you see the picture in front of you, a friend called me after the game's release, because I was in the interstitials after you shoot everyone up. And they said, "Hey, my son just shot you." Well, it turns out my likeness was also used on the online PvP, a peer versus peer game. So players can shoot me in the face, blow me up, stab me, push me off a cliff, burn me alive, all while I scream and I just die in extreme violence. So this isn't a Belgian geneticist. This is a completely different character.
Now wait a minute. So the things that you just described, the reactions, the screaming, all of that, they generated that? Because you didn't do that as the Belgian geneticist.
No, and I do this all the time on video games. So when I'm contracted to do voice on video games, I play a character. And if you can kill my character, they put it all at the end of the day, and they have me do an hour of screaming and yelling and dying and all sorts of other things, because they don't want to blow my voice out before my lines. And it goes in the audio. They hired someone else to do all that stuff. They pulled someone else's voice. I don't know if they pulled an amalgam of other people's dying voices in the game, but the voice is not mine. If you play my character, it's not my voice. So now, all I got was the original session fee. I had no say on how my likeness was used, or that look my face. It's one thing when I do voice. You can shoot someone who looks like me and burn me alive, and then you see me kill you in PvP. Now, I never gave my permission for that, but I did sign a contract saying, yes, you can use it whatever you want for the project. So the project to me versus the project to their lawyers is not something you really can sort out when you show up to the gig and you sign the paperwork. Now, let me just add, this game, 2014 Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, made more than Taylor Swift's new album 1989, Disney Pixar's Frozen, and Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy combined. Those were the top-selling album and the top 2 box office movies of 2014. Now, if Kevin Spacey had been in a movie that grossed over $1 billion, well, he never has, by the way, none of them. Imagine if I had scenes in a movie comparable with Kevin Spacey. We'd have negotiations, residuals, and you wouldn't be able to murder my likeness. So if you think producers are going to fairly handle AI without specific legal and contractual guidelines, think again. We have to revolutionize. And I heard sort of your idea on this. We actually have to revolutionize everything for AI and compensation in the digital age, is my opinion.
Well, I don't even have a notion as to how to approach this. How do you see the union making a proposal that would encompass some of the stuff that you're talking about? I mean, that's a compelling story you tell.
It's my job. Just so you know, I'm also a tech nerd. I just want you to understand that many, many years ago, one of the biggest actors in Hollywood used to wear a chicken suit outside of El Pollo Loco. His name is Brad Pitt. All right.
Is that right?
Yeah, he used to wear. Now, just think of it. You're not going to starve us out, because most of us, I mean, if 80% don't get in health insurance, 80% are definitely working day jobs. So we're not. Is Netflix going to bartend? No, they're going to have to fire people. So we're going to wait this. I mean, if Brad Pitt was in a chicken suit, you understand what real talent and what really good looks had to do to get where he is. And all of us who care about that, we do that. So, point being, it is incumbent upon us to actually redefine what compensation means. And I know that the producers want the status quo, but they're not changing the status quo based on their status quo changing. Their idea is we haven't really figured out how to monetize it yet. And let me just look at that. We haven't figured out how to monetize it yet. Our founding fathers said that. Jefferson was broke. He was in debt. He built Monticello, not with money, but with slaves. So if you don't know how to figure out how to monetize it yet, we didn't know how to monetize our country. So we had free labor for hundreds of years. You had individual damage, cultural damage, and now generational damage. Think of what you're doing to the workers of today if you're not paying us a living wage for our work. And that's what underlies everything. So my answer, because I have a tech business, is AI is here to stay. Prometheus has given us that fire. It's like saying, you know what? We do not need wheels. Or 100 years ago, we don't need sewing machines. Look, we're doing this. We've been doing this for hundreds of years. And there was a lot of feedback then. Well, they all lost work or learned how to use sewing machines. Well, right now, there are some jobs that are going to go away. There's some jobs that are going to stay. But what has to happen is we can't keep doing things on paper with AI out there. We actually have to include AI in what we're doing. And I'm actually running for a delegate for the SAG-AFTRA board this year because I'm an AI nerd and have been for years. And that's how I do tech as well. I can't talk about it right now. I can talk about it, one-to-one.
What kind of general, I mean, by the way, you'd be I'm glad you're running for it because you're clearly a knowledgeable, I like the fact that you're in the trenches, but you also have a knowledge of what is likely the future. I mean, through the technology, but what would likely be the kind of proposal that might include what AI and that scenario that you described that involved you is doing to the business? What kind of proposal might exist in the future?
All right. Well, what I would say, and I can boil it down to this and feel safe saying it, you need to combine two things. and this is a very overarching word, but we need to combine NFT, non-fungible tokens, identity tracking, with signal processing to catch cheaters. And
So the NFT part is Web3, sort of where you're on the blockchain and you can keep track of it. Is that what you mean when you say that? Or
I'm just going to say NFT. You can go where you want with that. Figure,
okay,
taking our likeness, making NFTs, and then
okay.
catching cheaters. That's the really sort of broad overlook of it. But the point is, AI is here to stay. We use it every day. We're using AI right now to stay in focus on our cameras. I mean, everything is AI driven. It's not going away. And if you hold up a sign that says no AI, no matter what business you're in, you're not recognizing that. We are now in the tech survival of the fittest. So we need to use AI to help us. And AI is helping us.
The writers are proposing, as you're aware, limits on AI and AI involvement in the creative process.
Mm-hmm.
That I think it's a tough one but there are ways to check on if something was generated artificially. But putting that aside, this is interesting what you're saying. Hey, look, that horse is out of the barn. You may have to just simply integrate AI and make sure we're compensated fairly for the use of AI in the ways that it will likely evolve in our industry.
Right. Now look how AI is being used in the industry right now. I mean, let's look at Midjourney. If you look at Midjourney, it is a generative AI that creates images from noise. And they'll take 10,000 pictures of a cat or 1,000,000 pictures of a cat, and it'll break them all down to noise. And when you say cat, draw me a cat, it'll reintegrate its own idea with some randomness and some chaos, style and chaos, to create a cat. If you say a green cat, it'll make a green cat because what it knows about green and cat, and it puts it all together in these images. We can also take your image, Mark, and my image, and feed it in there and saying a man walking across the street drinking water. And so it'll look a little like you and a little like me, and it'll be a man walking across drinking water. Now, what it did is it took our pixels and did that. That's a new phase for our business. And what the extras are complaining about right now is legitimate, which is they're showing up on a set and they're getting paid $110 a day. I don't know if people know something like that. It's SAG scale for extra, and they're standing around all day. They're professionals. They come ready. They come dressed. Whenever someone wants them to go somewhere, they go there. They know how much to bug you. They know how much not to bug you. Some people do this for a living.
But they're treated awfully, though. You must admit, Eric. I mean, relative to everybody else. I mean, I've only done a few dozen projects or films and TV shows, but I always felt bad for the extras. They have them in a. Am I wrong? I mean, I feel as though, because I think I know where you're going, they're already, I don't think, treated so well.
Well,
they're aspiring actors and performers, right?
Yeah, nobody where there's a totem pole is treated well. And by the way, we're apes. We have totem poles. Look, the people who are now the producers may have worked in the mailroom at William Morris at some point. I don't know if you've ever seen Swimming with Sharks. Another Kevin Spacey project, by the way.
Sure.
I mean, the way they treat each other, the way they interact with each other. If you're in the mailroom, you are treated like dirt. You're treated worse than an extra. And they, of course, they believe, well, I worked 2 years in the mailroom. I did my dues. Anyway, wherever there's a totem pole, whether you're talking about, full on, again, slavery or simply a corporate structure with an org chart, there's someone at the bottom who makes sure that all the papers are Xerox, which, by the way, I did back in the 90s when I had a day job in New York. I was a temp. So I understand that. Yes, they're treated poorly. So let me go back.
Yes, please continue. I didn't mean to. Yeah.
No, the extras, they do this work, and one day someone shows up and says, "Hey, can I scan you?" Now, there are a couple scenarios that happen. An actor goes, "Well, yeah, definitely. Of course. Yeah, sure. You're going to do this. Yeah, we want to get all your angles and stuff. We're shooting this movie." They scan the extra. And now, basically, from what I've told you, generative AI and also 3D, where they can map someone's face on a 3D character that walks across the street. A year later, that actor doesn't have a job because there's already a her walking across the street. So they've been getting $100 a day for their work. And now they get no dollars for their work, and they just got scanned for free. So I give you my analogy. If I give you $100 bag of chips or the exact same bag of chips for free, which one are you going to take? Well, that's what the producers are doing, because quite frankly, what does it take to tell your someone on your crew, hey, could you just ask these actors to come in the tent where I put the machine that scans you? The other side of it, there are actually two more scenarios. The actor says no, and I've heard this story from fellow members. They get fired. They get released from the project. Or the third one is, we're going to pay you $100 to scan you. So you get $100 for the day, and you get $100 for a scan. See, it's part of the same project. Oh, wow, I just showed up. I get an extra $100 to stand there. And then a year from now, you don't have a job.
Yeah, that is clearly the next step. You can certainly see the way the extra world is going to change dramatically, because that's so easy. And maybe it's all as easy as that. That's the one that's easy to get your head around, maybe. I guess it might be the way to put it.
Here's the harder one. Deepfake Tom Cruise. Have you seen Deepfake Tom Cruise?
It's crazy, eerie, really.
I mean, Tom Cruise did not give his permission to do that. Now, you can see it in a fun way, right? I mean, it's fun. From what I hear, CAA just invested $20 million in that company. I don't know if that's true, but I think they also rep Tom Cruise, which is a little weird. All right, again, we're in that weird area. Let's put that aside, and let's go in the middle, and let's take a look at Worm GPT. Have you heard of Worm GPT?
No.
This came out in the news in PC Magazine 2 days ago. Imagine an evil chat GPT created by hackers. And you can ask this Worm GPT all sorts of questions like, all right, I want to write a phishing letter for this company to see if I can, do this, that, and the other. And so imagine, there are people out there who said, well, information is free. This is just generative AI. Everybody should know. But from local to city to state to national to internationally, people are getting mobilized, because at some point, some bad actor is going to have Tom Cruise deepfaked into doing a crime. He's going to have, I've already heard of people who are in pornography right now. So at this point, we're at the cusp. Can you imagine 10 years from now when we go, hey, AI, here's the story. I want you to put Brad Pitt in a chicken outfit, walking onto a movie set with Tom Cruise, scaring the hell out of him, and then taking off his chicken head and going, hey, Tom. All right. It will do that for you. And the question is, who owns Brad Pitt's and Tom Cruise faces? Now, there are places now that will let you license that stuff. There are companies right now who are getting into that, because if you look at the movie industry, you're a $100 million film, and you're hiring Brad Pitt, and there's some crazy ass stunts. So Brad Pitt has a company that has all this stuff, and they just send them the assets. Sure. So and they keep it scanned. They keep up with the new technology. Brad and his agent, they just have that company do it. Right now, the producers are having to go to ILM and pay a whole lot of money for that stuff, and it only belongs to that production, and it may not quite be what Brad wants. These companies have what Brad wants, and they just send it over in the production company. But how about me?
Right.
Can I afford that? Because I just dropped my phone, for example, in your session, and I'm gonna spend, I don't know, $200,000 to get my face scanned. I'm not protected, and the stars are. And again, totem pole.
It's a totem pole, and I think pyramid. The people at the top, the Brad Pitts of the world, there are only a handful. And in the middle and base, there are many more. I mean, you're lucky in a way. Your talents have been recognized, and you're a working performer. There are many others who are struggling, who, as you say, they're out there. Maybe they're not as talented. Maybe they haven't gotten a break, whatever. But now, boy, you really put it in. It's both a perplexing context, and it's also a confusing kind of potential that this AI has. I'm wondering how you boil that down. Like when we started this conversation, how you boil it down to a proposal is what I was going to say. When we started this conversation, we only have another minute or two left, but I was thinking, well, maybe you could make whatever AI was involved with Erik's project specific to that project, or a list of projects, or in other words, so you as a performer at least know it's specific to that project. What you've described is a kind of AI. How do you cast a wide enough net to handle a lot of the stuff that you've talked about?
Here's my answer. You use AI. It's really simple, and it will actually simplify a lot of this process. My point being that there are actors on all levels in terms of their commitment. I train like an Olympic athlete. Like when I'm not doing this, I'm going to be marching. When I'm not doing that, I have this movie I'm writing, and I got this thing I'm editing, and like constantly, and I'm going to 4 classes a week. There are other people who are like, yeah, I've got, I drive a cab and I do this and I show up for this, and it doesn't matter. All these people not only need to be compensated, but they also actually need to be protected by using numbers and saying, I may not have the budget to do this, but all of us collectively can create something. And in the meantime, we're not playing ball. And that's only one sector. We now have streaming and dealing with shows that are now showing like streaming that's now showing commercials, AVOD, and also other things. These are other conversations. My service will definitely be in the video gaming and AI side, because I've done 20 video games. My projects have made more than twice as much money as Jennifer Lawrence's projects. Now,
Those projects, video game projects, are buyouts. You perform, they give you a flat fee. There's no residual. There's no
session rate. I think it's $1,100 a day right now.
Wow. Yeah.
And by the way, I just did Diablo 4. I did 2 sessions, and they were forced to pay me by contract a $200 check when the game was launched. The game was launched. I'm still waiting for a $200 check. They made $666 million opening weekend.
Look at this. SF Tesla says, once trained by a real actor, the AI can tweak out a new persona.
No.
Yeah, I guess that's true too. Yeah.
Can't happen.
Oh, it
because
can't?
I need something. If I'm in a scene with you, I need something. You need something. Computers can't need. And all we care about is to see if I'm going to get it from you and you're going to get it from me. And computers don't know what it's like to stand in the sand. They don't know what it's like to really need something. So you're going to give us a vanilla facsimile, and that's where Hollywood is going to go. And then all the other countries will beat us out because they'll make real movies. You tell me what you want.
Oh, that's fascinating. What a great way to finish, too. Look, I just see you all as so immensely talented, and what you do is so hard. I mean, we talked about this yesterday on the air, the fact that, there's this notion of Hollywood actor, your craft services, they send a town car for you or whatever, and it's hard work. What you do is hard work.
Do you know what I do in that town car? I'm reading the script. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to cry. I have to burst into tears. And they might have to do it 15 times. We're not just sitting there, we might,
right.
And that's the thing. And the other part of it is it's magic. If it looked hard, you wouldn't want to watch that person.
Right.
When Jordan did a dunk, it's just like, well, you try that.
Yeah. Great parallel. Come visit again. Good luck. It looks like it may be a while, huh, Erik?
I think
the strike.
I think if and I'm just going to say this with love, if the producers can just say this is all changing, and if you want to play ball with the actors, we both need to acknowledge that this is all changing and create a paradigm that works for both of us. Because if we don't, you're going to fall. Yeah. And we don't want you to fall, because I love Netflix. I love HBO. I love Hulu. I love Disney. I'm entertained. I turn that stuff on all the time. But you have to understand that you can't screw your workers, because it's happening everywhere now, and you'll be part of the problem.
It's not a good look for the studios right now. That's for sure.
Well, they say they can starve us out. I don't know about that.
Well, I mean, that's also not a good look. I mean, to come forward with that, we're planning, once they start losing some houses, then they'll come to the table. I mean, please. Right now, there's no negotiation.
I can sell my house and live in Atlanta way cheaper. And by the way, only when I'm working would I fly to LA. It's a new world.
Erik, good luck. Come back and visit and bring us good news. Thanks, man. Erik Passoja. Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.